Coming soon from Big Finish Productions.
Who are you? Hey, what do you want?
My name is Jack Harkness. I'm here to help you.
If you don't leave right away, I'm phoning the police.
Mr. Redmond, I know that isn't you in St. Petersburg. We need to talk.
Are you afraid of dying? Look what you made me do, Jack.
Nothing which has happened to you these last few years was an accident. Everything was by design.
Neil Redmond.
Neil Redmond.
Neil Redmond!
Big Finish. We love stories.
I love you. I love you.
Hello, everyone, Joyboy, and welcome to a review of Torchwood, Uncanny Valley. After the cover and whatnot, everything else. Up here, you've got outside the government beyond the police. Got John Barrowman's Captain Jack in his classic outfit and the gun. The same thing again, but in a sort of crate ahead of him, and just a sort of plastic mannequin in some sort of warehouse, which is interesting. Well, I will go on to the cover a bit after I've done all this sort of showcase thing. It's the 5th one in the Big Finish series. All that in said description. And the inside. So some production credits there, and the disc. Just open that up, and you've got advertisements for the first 4 releases: The Conspiracy, Fall to Earth, Forgotten Lives, and One More, all of which have already been reviewed on the channel. Now, before I go on to review, I will talk about the cover a bit, because I got a little bit of a rant about this. Is that I like the story, I do like the story. There's just one issue with this story, is that it has nothing to do with the actual cover. You can see a relation, but it's not actually relevant. Obviously, in the cover, it seems to suggest a sort of robotic Jack's copy of the Jack. That is not in the story at all. It's a copy of someone else who isn't Jack, and was never intended to be anything like Jack. Doesn't appear to look like Jack, even though we don't see what it looks like, obviously. Which is annoying, because this cover is deliberately misleading, thinking we're going to have like multiple Jacks, even though we don't, and that is absolutely annoying. So, yeah. Little rant over, I'll go on to the actual review. Yeah. The review, the story is a good story, obviously. From what I can tell, it sort of continues on from the Conspiracy, the first Torchwood audio. And that was, and because obviously he mentions events of that, and he's sort of trying to follow up on these events. Once again, the whole thing, everything behind this is the committee, which are once again back again, the ones that create this robot version of Neil Redmond, I think his name is. I'm going to go with Neil Redmond if it's wrong. Oh well. And obviously he was in an accident several years ago, and he was paralysed, he can't walk, and he's stuck in a wheelchair. And the committee build him a robot copy that he can he can think for itself and sort of work like that, but it speaks and acts like he would. Obviously runs Neil Redmond's company for him, and Neil Redmond can see what he's doing and live his life because he can sort of go online and see his time and view through his eyes. But after a while he starts to get sort of fed up of not obviously he can see it, but that's all he can do, he can't feel it. Obviously the robot's off partying and doing his own thing and running the business, doing a bit of it, if you know what I mean. And when Jack turns up, and Neil Redmond's telling him everything what happened and everything, and he's talking, and they're talking, and then the robot comes back and tries to work out, and eventually the robot sort of works off. So the robot is built by the committee, so the robot knows who Jack is, and they end up going to, and so the robot takes Jack upstairs. Obviously Neil could come upstairs, but it would take ages because he's got to take the lift. And Jack had been trying to convince Neil Redmond to turn the robot off, because of he's me and he has to be turned off. But he can't do it because Neil Redmond loves the robot, even though he sort of resents him. So what Jack does, he sort of tricks the robot into having sex with him, so that and Neil will be watching, so that Neil would turn him off, which he then did. But even though he couldn't turn it off because the box that was turning him off didn't actually do anything, and I have thought that was really funny. Well, not funny, but it was a very interesting twist on it. I'm not good at these reviews, am I? I did like that, and then at the end you got the obviously I did like how Jack used sex to sort of get what he wanted. That seemed very Torchwood, and a lot of people don't seem to like this aspect of it. I keep having to look at the window because the sun is reflecting off my mum's car, and I can constantly see it out the corner of my eye, and it is really annoying. But yeah, I thought that was very Torchwood. People don't seem to like that, and I don't understand why. That is Torchwood. Has always been Torchwood. Torchwood has always been about that. That's sort of always been the whole point of Torchwood. Torchwood is more adult oriented. Big Finish might not do more adult oriented that much. I think there's a few ranges that do, but I think because this is Doctor Who related, they seem to not quite like that. And I don't really see why, because they did things like that on TV as well. There was a scene in Miracle Day where Jack was doing it with another guy, and I like the scene. I don't care what people say. I like that scene. And yeah, and then in the end, after the robot has killed Neil Redmond, and Jack is trying to get away and get rid of the robot, ends up ramming the robot into a tree via car, and the robot is sort of split in half. And then the robot reveals, and then I think Jack says something about not invading, and then the robot goes, "We aren't invaded, we were invited," or something like that. And I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting. This is something quite interesting," and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes, because we don't know where that goes yet, annoyingly. So yeah, John Barrowman again is absolutely brilliant. Some people don't like him, aren't really feeling him as Jack quite yet in these, but I disagree. He's brilliant in these. I absolutely do really like that. He feels like Jack. He is Jack. Obviously he's filming his lines in a studio in America, and everyone else is in Britain. And then they put them together to get this. Yeah, a good story. Not the best story. I'd probably say this is probably like, out of all the others, probably the weakest. But it is a good story nonetheless. It is a cracking story. Yeah, again, I think the main downfall for this is the cover. That's just annoying. Don't do that, Big Finish. Don't have covers that have nothing to do with the actual story. At least have just have the like Neil Redmond robot, yes, but don't have Jack robot. That's just not actually there. So yeah, I think that's everything. Big Man 44 out.